I hand over to Dr. Sanjay Bedi for the proceedings.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Dr. Richa Khanna to speak ma'am's biodata. Over to you, Dr. Richa.
Thank you so much, sir, and good evening. Good evening, ma'am, and good evening, all the prestigious faculty on this board. So it's an honor for me to introduce Professor Shally Awasthi, ma'am, an alumnus and a reputed faculty of KGMU. And the experience which I share with ma'am cannot be mentioned in few words. And her achievements and credentials are also cannot be summarized in few words, but I'll make a small attempt. Ma'am has done her MD Pediatrics, DNB Pediatrics, MSc Epidemiology from US and PhD. Currently, she is working as the Vice Chancellor, Bodhisattva University, Barabanki. She has been a professor in the Department of Pediatrics and ex-head of the Department of Pediatrics at KGMU. She has been HOD of the Department of Medical Education and also contributed to research and development by being the Dean of Research Cell at KGMU. She has numerous awards to her credentials. To name a few, she has been the Hewitt Gold Medalist at MBBS program at KGMC. She was the best student. She won the best student gold medal in MD KGMU. She has so many fellowships to her credit like IAP, NAMS, Indian National Science Academy, and many more. She has ICMR awards like Basanti Devi Amit Chand Award, Amrit Modi Unichem, Dr. H.R. Dingley Award, and also from Department of Science and Technology, the National Award for Outstanding Efforts in S&T Communication. From the MCI, she has received the Silver Jubilee Research Award. Her research interests cannot be measured more with these indices. She has an H index of 63 and more than 300 publications to her credit. Her research interests speak the volume of her publications in pediatric pulmonology, pneumonia, and nutrition, etc. In medical and education, she has contributed immensely in the program development and evaluation, in the mentor-mentee program, and the peer-assisted learning. If we try to a short summary of her journey in medical education, she became faculty in pediatrics at KGMU on 25th of November 1985 and retired on 6th September 2023. The journey continued after joining faculty in pediatrics as a convener in KGMU in 2007. She was convener at NMC Regional Center at KGMU in 2011. She became the head of the Department of Medical Education in 2014. She led the ACME CMC Ludhiana in 2017, initiated the MHP program in our institute in 2017, and also the most prestigious APJ Abdul Kalam Memorial Oration at KGMU at 2018. She has received the Eminent Teacher Award at IAP in 2024 that has been the most recent. She has so many orations to her credit, including the current one, and the 35th Srikantiya oration at Hyderabad, Dr. Mridula Kamboj oration, Nasi. She is the founder and editor-in-chief of Clinical Epidemiology and Global Health, and also the member, chair in various national and international committees and councils. So this is just a small glimpse of her achievements. And over to you, ma'am, and all the best and best wishes from us for this wonderful oration and the award.
Thank you very much. Yes. Can I share my screen, Dr. Bedi?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One sec, let me correct it. This bar is also coming in your view or no? Okay.
No, it is not coming. And
okay. Okay, fine. So, good evening to all. It is really a privilege to be delivering Dr. Rita Sood Memorial Oration today, and I thank MEU India for selecting me for this oration. We remember Dr. Rita Sood as a professor of medicine in Department of Medicine, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, with specialization in hematology. But today we remember her as a stalwart of medical education, who was pioneer in initiating reforms in teaching, learning, assessment in education in India, and also reforms in setting up and functioning of MEUs. Several people today here have already worked with Dr. Rita Sood and must be remembering her fondly today. We all pay our silent homage to Dr. Rita Sood. Today, in this oration, I would be talking about mainstreaming student wellness within CBME. I would be covering the topic on the definition of wellness, wellness status of medical students in India and abroad, interventions to improve wellness, evidences from US and Australia, experiences and evidences in accommodating wellness in the academic part of CBME curriculum for IMGs and PGs, and lastly, PG special consideration. What is wellness? Wellness can be defined as self-awareness, intentional prevention of distress, and promotion of well-being. Wellness is almost similar to WHO definition of human health, which says a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely absence of disease. So, what is mental wellness? Mental wellness is an internal resource that helps us think, feel, connect, and function. It is an active process that helps us to build resilience, grow, and flourish. Now, if we talk about mental wellness, there are internal mental factors that contribute to wellness and physical or external factors. I will not go through all of them, but they fall in the realm of activity and creativity, growth and nourishment, rest and rejuvenation, and connecting and meaning. And all of these are important. So in a study conducted in United States, they found that students begin medical school with mental health better than similarly aged peers in other streams. However, there's a quick reversal. Medical students' mental health ultimately becomes worse than the control population. And 5 years after post-graduation, it becomes similar to the control population. Why is it so? Because medical students are type A individuals with high levels of ambition and competition. Although these qualities facilitate academic success, they also lead to hostility and frustration with challenging situations. There are multiple factors affecting wellness of students. They are educational environment, especially in early days of training, the transition period between college and professional school, marked by anxiety, stress, sleep deprivation, and financial upheaval. There could be local language cultural issues, lack of social support in the new area, new experiences of death and human suffering, and they are unaware of available mental health resources. All these lead to isolation and suffering. But there are special challenges of medical students in India. Here in India, the age in entry in medical school is 17 to 19 years on an average. There are 23 lakh applicants for approximately 1 lakh seats, whereas in US, they are 22 to 28 years, 50,000 applicants for 28,000 seats, and in UK, 20 to 30 years, 28,000 applicants for 10,000 seats. So our Indian students are youngest, they face the toughest competition, and the pressure to perform continues from entrance in MBBS to graduation to PG and even beyond. There was a documentary by Robin Simon, Do No Harm, exposing the Hippocratic hoax, she says. And quoting from her documentary, jumping off hospital roofs, hanging themselves in janitorial closets, overdosing on drugs. They are A students, and their suicides are often like well-planned school projects. Suicide, silent epidemic, a sick healthcare system that not only drives our brilliant doctors to take their own lives, but puts patients' lives at risk too. That comes from US. And just a couple of weeks ago, the headline was Student Suicide, an Epidemic Sweeping India. So, what is the status of mental wellness of medical students in India and abroad? I would talk about mental well-being, but mental well-being cannot be taken alone. It goes with substance abuse, it goes with student burnout. They are so closely intertwined with each other. Now, in the Spanish medical school, depression, anxiety, stress was there in almost 45% of the students, either alone or in various combinations with each other. And only 55% had none of these symptoms. The same was in US, UK, Europe, and Southeast Asia. When mental well-being was assessed in India, depression was there in 14%, anxiety in 20%, and suicidal risk in 30% of the students. In Saudi Arabia, they said the risk factors for stress are female gender and studying in the first and second year of medical school, and those that have a physical problem are at risk of stress. And with stress, stress leads to substance abuse. Substance abuse leads to stress. Both lead to mentally becoming unwell. And in India, tobacco is there in about 22%, alcohol consumption 27%, cannabis 8%, and 40% overall have substance abuse, higher in males than in females. Same is found in US, UK, and Southeast Asia. But interestingly, we seldom talk about burnout, an occupational phenomena. More than 1/3 medical students have burnout. It was a meta-analysis of 42 studies, 27,000 students. WHO says it's caused by chronic workplace stress, not successfully managed. There is emotional exhaustion, loss of compassion, and results in callousness towards patients, unprofessional, potentially dangerous conduct, disinterest in studies, demotivation, and cynicism. So, this is the burnout cycle. Work or study nonstop, panic about all the work you still have left, try to take a break to de-stress, panic about all the work you still have left, and the cycle continues unless somebody tries to break it. The identified causes of burnout, again from US, are dissatisfaction with learning environment, lack of faculty support, inadequate number training, clerkship disorganization, working with cynical, abusive residents, or attending physicians. So, there was a quote from Rahel Gupta in a YouTube channel which she put up that she says that mental health, we are going towards progression. It's time we start investing in the doctor's mind, because if we don't do that, there will be no progression in the field of medical science. So let us talk about certain initiatives which are going on in the United States. One of these initiatives is one of these initiatives, first I will say, is the Vandenberg Initiative of Nashville, USA. It's been going on for more than 15 to 20 years, where there is an advisory college system, students, faculty offering personalized advice and mentorship to students, student wellness committees, student-led wellness initiatives, and medical student life, adjunct curriculum of self-care and personal growth. Likewise, in St. Louis University School of Medicine Wellness Initiative, they have entered the third phase, each phase giving good dividends. They've altered the structure of school's curriculum. Student contact hours reduced by 10% in preclinical curriculum, longitudinal electives to encourage student growth, interest identification, forming relationships with fellow students and faculty, plus formation of learning communities to further enhance student immersion in areas of interest. They have also converted grading into a pass-fail system and have a mandatory resilience mindfulness training and increased number of social events. From here, let's go to Australia. And what are they recommending? Design curricula to promote peer support during progression. Design assessment to foster well-being as well as learning. Ensure safe, health-promoting cultures for learning. Promote mental health and suicide prevention initiatives. promote physical health promotion initiatives, and train staff on student well-being and its management. Now let's come back to India. I got a quote from Cora. A student writes, I failed in first year MBBS university exam. What next? There were multiple answers. I picked up one and I'm highlighted. Very aptly, somebody writes, first year is not about studying. It's adjusting to new environments, homesickness, handling stress, sleeplessness, food problems, new friends, change in study methods, lots to write, lots to remember, and it goes on and on. So, what are the changing perceptions of wellness in medical students? You see, baseline gray, midterm yellow, final term blue. Academic performance was synonymous to mental wellness when the students entered school, but by the time they reached final year, it became lesser so. Same for financial stability, more so at entrance, lesser so in the final year, and friends. But physical fitness was not considered so important, and it became more important by the end. So I would be focusing on academic performance because that remained an important synonym of wellness among students. And let us see how we tackle it in our CBME. Now, when I switch gears and go to CBME and wellness there, here I have a little logo coding. The big means the PGs, the small means the UG. When the big and small owl both are there, it's for both PGs and UGs. So let us see. Experiences in accommodating wellness within CBME curriculum, the academic performance aspect. Wellness is embedded in mentorship program, identification and support of slow learners, the continuous internal assessment, real-time remedials, promoting collaborative activities. We just have to be aware and mindfully ensure that we do the wellness component of it. And I'll be touching a little upon all 5 of them. So, mentorship is a live longitudinal program. It's a dynamic reciprocal relationship in a work environment between an advanced career incumbent mentor and a beginner protege aimed at development of both. I had the opportunity of being a part of a structured, closely monitored mentorship program as a mentee in University of Philadelphia in early 1990s. I found it very beneficial, and when I returned back to India, I tried to implement the elements in the undergraduates who came to me and later were allotted to me, in the postgraduate thesis candidates, and in the PhD candidates. I could monitor their academic progression, and I could see the metamorphosis from uncertain beginners to absolutely confident outgoing students. And after all, the Guru Shishya Parampara is a part of our culture. But in professional matters like time management, reading, hobbies, friends, careers, small conflict resolutions, I felt confident in mentoring them, more so when I gained experience. But there were personal matters, faculty, with finances, with family hostel, personalities, addictions, abuse, where I would rather and I did rather refer these candidates to committees and do my part and let the committees do their expert parts for these students. Second is early identification of students at risk, the latecomers, the backbenchers, not interacting with anyone disruptive. They could be slow learners, they could be unwell, they could be burnouts. Let's recognize that. And one of my faculty said, he asks them to come forward, involve them, ask questions, ask them to summarize the class. Many of us have used this method. Sometimes ask them to wait after class to discuss the topic and or interesting cases, which not many of us do. We have to make classes interesting. And Lieutenant General Bipin Puri, former VC of KGMU, says, teaching with examples and anecdotes comes with experience. It does come with experience, provided we learn it, we want to learn it, we want to make our classes interesting. The third is saga of continuous internal assessment, I would say. A senior resident says, usually students scoring good marks in internal assessment score better in university exam. Another senior resident says marks in internal assessment, university exam are almost similar. But MBBS student says, I think internal assessment mark does not decide our university performance. And I myself have seen a lot of difference in internal assessment marks and university marks. Some struggled to clear IA, but did well in university. And the second one says, no correlation, poor IA, brilliant university marks. Well, both of them are right to large or small extents, and I will share a story to tell you. The story of the hare and tortoise. See, the tortoise is walking the path of internal assessment every day diligently, whereas the hare is sleeping during internal assessment. Either he or she is slow, sleepy, unwell, or is in the coaching class. Let's not forget that. And when it's the university exam, the tortoise reaches, does well, has been doing well, does well. This hare runs. And yes, there is a relative improvement of marks, may not be as much as the tortoise. So, what do we want? By motivation, by design, by coaching, coaxing, we want both of them to do the internal assessment diligently, steadfastly, and learn the required competencies which we want them to learn. Because study from India and other countries have proved that internal assessments are valid estimations of learning of students, and they reflect the marks of the university and the learnings which they've done, but has to be done well, multiple methods of assessment, and not more than 20% marks by a faculty. So early academic support will definitely de-stress our students. We all have been reading, hearing in medical education, assessment drives learning. Yes, we know it drives learning. Feedback by teachers is essential in continuous internal assessment. It ensures wellness. By corollary, I would say, teachers are pivotal for assessment, therefore for wellness. But look at the two keys. We require the right quantity and the right quality of teacher for assessment as well as for wellness for both UGs as well as PGs. The fifth is regular real-time remedials. Now, in King George Medical University, where I worked for almost 40 years, we conducted remedials in the evening because we had a culture since 1905 for evening teaching. After second terminal, during vacation, the remedial assessments, if they needed to be done, were during work hours. Our remedials were pre-decided, communicated to the students, beneficial, so much so that those without shortage, as you would say, came and took them as revision classes with the remedials. Now, certain colleagues in certain institutions and preclinical departments largely also conduct remedials after a part or a module is done immediately. And that too seems to be a valid strategy. I am of the strong feeling that if we implement a structured academic calendar, we will make time for students to de-stress, for self-care, for remedials, for self-study, whether it's for UG or for PG. So internal assessments are essential. We have to make it low stake and enjoyable in the spirit of CBME. It is exciting to plan for our departments and institutions for the desired goal and enjoy. Now, the fifth part is promotion of collaborative teaching learning activities. You know, collaborative learning is learning through working together to solve problems, complete tasks, learn new concepts. And collaborative teaching learning is where groups are collaborating to learn, learning to collaborate, and learning to teach while applying collaborative learning approaches. So the impact of collaborative learning is that it improves performance, it improves knowledge, it improves cohesion within the team, and overall, it improves wellness. We have multiple examples of collaborative learning, and we have used it in our teaching, in our small group discussion, in our revised, in the basic course workshop, the think, pair, share, the problem-based learning, the case studies, the simulations, the small group discussions. But I'll talk a little more about the peer-assisted learning. Now, I was really impressed by the Sydney Medical School, which published the types of PAL activity they are doing and the benefits of PAL activity. They are doing PAL formative clinical long case examinations, PAL formative objective structured OSCEs. They're doing PAL tutoring, a student-led program, and PAL teacher training program also. And you can, all the publications are given in these slides, which I'm showing you. Now, peer-assisted learning is people from similar social groupings who are not professional teachers are helping each other to learn and learning themselves by teaching. Now, my personal experience in PAL began in my advanced course, which I took. It was a part of my dissertation, which got published. In the small group discussion, I was the faculty facilitator. Each group had a student leader, SL, peer learners, 6 to 7 peer learners, and for each is a small group discussion, we had specified 3 to 4 ILOs. And as we did the PAL, the PAL was really well taken. Let me tell you, PAL goes viral. It's very enjoyable. It improved the learning. And we assessed the qualitative impact of PAL, where the students said everyone got an opportunity to express. Group dynamics improved with time. Each member developed a sense of responsibility. Topic was better prepared, and we could clarify doubts, less anxiety, improved and reinforced recall. Overall, PAL was a very useful activity, and the students suggested that PAL sessions should begin from the first semester. PAL on identified topics of a subject so that they learn together and they do it well. From this qualitative, there was a quantitative meta-analysis of numeric value of benefit of PAL in the marks and the numbers which the students get. They retrieved several thousands of articles, but finally 11 studies entered the model. And in this 11th study, they found that if you do PAL, then by PAL, there was a net benefit, net improvement in the marks of student. They had studies from several countries. In that meta-analysis, they did not have any study from India. So overall, PAL was good, and PAL can be used in a greater way in our teaching and learning as the Sydney Medical School is doing. From here, I come to the last part, that is PG special consideration. We hear these quotes many times. A diamond cannot be made without going under pressure. Are we in the diamond industry or are we in the healthcare industry? If your path is more difficult, it's because your calling is higher. Yes, our calling is higher, but could we not smoothen the path in so many years? Let me remind you what I told you earlier. Students begin medical school with mental health better than similarly aged peers. Quick reversal is observed. Medical students' mental health becomes worse than the controls, and they become similar 5 years. Now let us see this image. This image by Janvi Bokolia. We see this image, thesis ward studies, toxic seniors, no support system, sleep and food issue, files, mental health, samples, duties, patients. Obviously, this resident is stressed. She is not well. We have decades of first-hand experience with such situations where stress can be of recent onset or long-standing stress. It could be a recurrent stress, a stress which can be taken care of by some support, or a stress which would require advanced support, I would say, maybe counseling, maybe medications, but through the expert committee. Now, in this blog, in the Nirvana, it writes the untold story of postgraduate medical education in India by Kiruba. In 2024, there are certain stressors which the blog identifies. We know these stressors firsthand, we know other stressors firsthand, and individually and collaboratively, each one of us who is a medical teacher have tried to eliminate or, reduce the stress. So I would go through the next slide where I take up the stress enumerated by the blog and the success stories, in my experience, success stories with me, with my colleagues. And I'm sure those who are here have similar and many more success stories. So the stressor in PG, the student fills in the gap in the system. They have to transport this specimen, fetch medical reports, images, venous samplings, IV medications, etc., etc. We successfully did team building activities. We instituted Best Worker Award for other cadres, and the resident doctors selected the best worker. The residents did their work, the other cadre did their work. We had supportive administration, which gave us sufficient number of cadres. The second stressor which the blog says is glorification of the mythological toughness for learning. Remember diamond creation. So, had good experience. We removed the stigma and guilt around taking leave free time. Because if you don't take leave, you can have burnout. The leave is your right, and you don't take leave and feel guilty about it. So gave time for meals, weekly offs, relaxing on duty. When free and on duty, you can relax. And shared workload among residents. There was good adherence to all SOPs. The students did not become unruly. Then there was another stressor which everyone says on the ground and overworked to learn better. There have been big study published that overworked on the ground does not improve learning. So, as recommended, and we did predictable working hours, 8 hours per day for the first 3 months of joining residency, then 12 hours max. Patient care never suffered, learning improved. Now there is this big issue of emotional abuse by colleagues. It's easier said than done. We tried to bring about a culture of positive reinforcement. Feedback system, but then feedback takes training and time. Tried to celebrate personal milestones because personal milestones were seen to be deterrents in duty, like personal milestones like getting engaged, getting married, going for a holiday. And from professor to interns, tried to have an atmosphere of being colleagues at work. Now, there has to be a cultural change. This is not only in our country, but this is a pandemic. And of course, the syllabus is ever growing. They are here because they have to learn the syllabus. Academic support is needed. We have to walk the path with them, holding their hands, ensuring there's discipline, semester-wise modular formative assessment test, and PAL wherever possible, and other ways. It's just one, but multiple ways of learning. So this is responding to the blog, understanding that we understand there is a stress. Now, how can we make PG a good training program? This was an article in the BMJ 2023 from United Kingdom, and the author, based on experience of colleagues, writes, create a sense of connection. Connection means positive working relationships and a sense of belonging to a team, from faculty to ground staff. Same as we did. That was in 2023. We started much before, and many of us have tried to do it. Consider the marginalized groups. That's very important. Those with disability. Disability need not only be physical, there could be other disabilities. Have young families. We have mothers with children, men with elderly parents, sole breadwinners. We have to recognize they are coming in our country. In UK, they are students from overseas. We don't get them, but they are students from other states or come from an ethnic minority background, as Rimmer writes. And again, what I said, create a supportive culture. You know, very, very tough, but has to be done. See them, the residents, as adult colleagues. Awareness about the infantilizing word junior. You call them junior, junior's done that, junior. The junior is not respected by them, their colleagues, the residents, the other juniors, the students, and even the patients and the staffs as junior hai. Besides that, Rimmer goes on to say, they had their own well-being program themselves. So there was no Vanderbilt or St. Louis program there. They created their own wellness program, karaoke, nature walk, rural disco, and a mindful drawing session. So what we see in US, we see in Australia, we see in India, we see in Southeast Asia, we see in UK. It's like a pandemic, stress pandemic in medical schools, young or old. We have to be prepared to handle that stress in the best way collectively and perhaps try to bring about a cultural change. So, therefore, we have to utilize every opportunity to ensure wellness, whether ensure wellness in whatever we do, and we get multiple opportunities to mainstream wellness. And to repeat, if we have a vibrant mentorship program, if we really identify students at risk early and support them, if we have really regular real-time remedials and very decent CIA with feedback, promote collaborative learning, there's little reason that we won't ensure wellness. And of course, there are other initiatives which I have not discussed. They're self-explanatory, the anti-ragging, Nasha Ulmulan, anti-smoking, mental health, etc. For student wellness, faculty wellness is essential. I'm just saying that. I'm just flagging the issue. I'm not touching upon this issue in my oration today. So with this, I come to an end. I thank you all for patient listening on mainstreaming wellness. And here there is a quote, and this quote is from Charak. It says, just as tender plant is easy to cut down, the same requires much more effort when fully grown. Likewise, any disease is manageable in early stage. It becomes almost incurable when it grows. So we have to manage right from first year of undergraduate. We can ensure their wellness and residency. And I believe if during undergraduate time, they learn the self-care, they learn mindfulness and wellness. Perhaps in the residency, we'll get better prepared students. These are the list of references which I could not show in the slides, but I referred to them while preparing this. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Over to Dr.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a great session in your motherly voice. Everyone has really enjoyed, and we are really honored to give you this oration certificate in the memory of Dr. Rita Sood, and along with that, for your long contribution, the Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, we are really grateful from the core of our heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I humbly accept this award. I thank the India MEU members and all the office bearers, Dr. Bedi, Dr. Singh, Dr. Joshi, and Dr. Rege. Thank you very much. I'm really humbled by you all selecting me. I have not contributed much, I think, but I hope to continue working and do as much good as I can. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. And with this, we end this session. The recording will be available on YouTube. We will share the link.
Thank you very much.